Bonfires burning bright, pumpkin faces in the night. I remember on Halloween this day, anything goes, burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember on Halloween this day, anything goes, burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember on Halloween, 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 Halloween. Hello. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. This is our last show. Welcome to tonight's final show on Halloween. That's right. We've got the very last of our 31 days of Halloween. I got to tell you, there's man, this whole, I don't know. This was a tough year. I mean, it was pretty prolific in terms of watching prowess, but somewhere deep down inside, I don't think I enjoyed it nearly as much as I have in past years. I don't know if it has to do with just, things that are going on in my life. It's just been tough. It's been really, really tough. Been doing the very best that I can, as best I can. That's all you can ever hope for it to do, is the best you can. We did 9 movies this week, so we made it to 39 or 38 movies or 39 movies, something like that, which still is, hey, it's pretty good. What happened was I slacked off, man. Once I hit that 31, I was just like, I don't know. I just couldn't. I found it hard, man. I just found it hard to watch. There was hard. I didn't even watch I bought things to watch for this thing, and I just, blah, blah, blah. But I got another slack of movies to go over, and that will conclude this season's 31 Days of Halloween. Coming up is Tom Hanks Giving, of course. So you better make sure to have a Tom Hanks movie ready on Thanksgiving to give to a loved one, because that's what we do on Tom Hanks Giving. Man, I really should find like 100 copies of Big and just give them out. Give them out like candy. That's what I really should do. Maybe I will. Who knows? Who freaking knows? Kids did pretty well on trick-or-treating. Brought in a good haul. That's good. I didn't watch a movie yet on Halloween. Usually I watch like 3, and I haven't. But I have eaten a lot of candy. I got a pocket full of Halloween candy, and that I stole from my children. Look at this. Ghost Toast Kit Kat, man. It tastes like toast. This is one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life. You got some spooky Skittles. My stomach is killing me, dude. Killing me. I got a creepy hand. That'll go somewhere. Nice little tchotchke. I always love give out little toys and tchotchkes and things else. I got another Ghost Toast. What was this? Bitto Honey. Those are actually pretty good, the Bitto Honeys. And Yar what you eat, nerds. So I got some candy. Any more? No, that's it. There's more upstairs. There's plenty of candy. Plenty more where that came from. I have avoided eating candy all year. I really have. I'm pretty good about that. And now here I am, and I'm thirsty as hell because I have all the sodium. I take digestive enzymes, and I took 2 tonight because I was like, I'm going to need help digesting all this friggin' food, man. Let's launch into our list. Let's not dilly-daddle, shall we? Let's get into it. Let us get into it. All right, go into the diary. Diarrhea. It's funny. I actually watched way more than 40 movies this month. I watched several movies that were not horror movies. I typically try not to do that. Somehow it happened. So you can follow me on Letterboxd if you like. Maybe out there as Letterbox. Join me in my watching. So where do we leave off? Oh, I don't want to. I want to bury the lead here. Oh crap! You shouldn't be looking at my list. That was silly of me. All right, we're gonna keep that private, so you can't see the list. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me just populate this. You probably saw the list already. Stupid me. That was really dumb. Hey, don't come down too hard on me. I've been having a rough time. It's been a rough month. Okay. I'm doing the best I can here. What can I say? All right. Our first movie is called Outside. It's a Filipino movie directed by Carlo Ledesma, if that's how you say the name. Gave it 3.5 stars. It's on Netflix. It was on Netflix. I ended up enjoying this. It was kind of a tough watch, though. It was sort of a tough watch because, it deals with, basically the destruction of the familial unit, I guess would be the way to put it. And in that kind of way, it was sad. Spoilers. Oh shit. In that kind of way, it was sad, man. You see this family. Obviously, there's an outbreak. What's interesting about the interesting thing that they do with these zombies that I really enjoyed actually is that, and they used it in the plot too, which I thought was pretty cool. They the zombies say the last word. Their last word before death is a word that they repeat like forevermore, like a broken record. And that actually comes up in the plot when, or it's not really like, or it's like used for impact when it turns out like the brother of the father's brother, and the father of the family, he comes back, the uncle, and he says something along those lines. He's like save yourself, run, something like that. Pretty interesting stuff. Turns out the mom wanted to leave the dad, and the dad is trying to keep the family together as the world is ending. So it's like the world is ending, dad's trying to keep the family together. Some interesting sort of like layers in terms of like you have a father who moves back into his parents' house. His father uh, has ended it all because he received a bite from his arm. And then the son, the father of this new family, basically gets possessed almost by his dad's, bad habits in a way, kind of. He, um, he wants to keep his family together, and he lies to them about like how bad it is outside. He holds them up in the house. We find out the older son is actually a part of an affair, possibly with the uncle, and and I think too because they go from, I don't know what the Filipino language that they speak, the Filipinian language. What is it called? I forget the name of it. Forgive my ignorance. I could Google it real quick. But they switch between the language that they speak in the Philippines, and I'm so afraid to say the wrong one and just sound like an idiot, so I'm not going to try and surmise. They switch between that and English, and it's interesting how it goes back and forth. It's kind of like almost like a Spanglish sort of thing, the way that like sometimes Spanglish is a fusion of Spanish and English, and dual language speakers, they jump between words, and that's kind of like what happens here, or at least I guess that's what happens in the Philippines. Typically I don't mind if a zombie movie doesn't have zombie action, because as long as at the end of the day, the villains in zombie movies are never actually the zombies. It's always the people, right? The people are the enemies, man. But, the interpersonal conflicts between humans is what makes that interesting. And I don't know. I just feel like we didn't get enough of that. It was kind of like lacking in that area. In general, I felt like there just wasn't a zombie action like that. Overall, it was okay. I would recommend it. They definitely do a few things different that make it interesting. Keep you struggle. I'm sorry, being terrible with my words tonight. String you along enough. They string you along enough that I don't know, you want to find out what happens at that sort of thing. The ending is harrowing. The younger son, he gets bit, and the mom's arm, and she's a nurse, and it's just like the family really pushed to the test, you know, as they're splitting apart at the seams. That was interesting. That was kind of interesting. So, I mean, Outside, fun. It's on Netflix. Watch it if you feel. Um, this next movie that I picked, Idle Hands. Um, this was such an effortless watch. I can't even tell you. It's a Halloween night movie. When I was younger, I was always kind of annoyed because I was kind of like, I don't get like an evil. It's like it's funny when it's like a running gag in the two, but like to make that force of all of all antagonistic forces in the film. It never worked for me when I was younger, but rewatching it, and I watched this movie a bunch. Rewatching it years later, I can't remember the last time I watched Idle Hands. I absolutely adored revisiting this movie. Really, this was a season of revisit. I had such a good time watching it. It just really captures the time of live, and my God, Jessica Alba is gorgeous. It's like the manic dream pixie girl and whatnot. Devon Sawa was perfect as as like the stoner, and it's one of those like the premise is literally like idle hands, the devil's play. They turn into a whole movie. And you have Seth Green and God, what's the guy? Seth Green and I guess right, uh, Eldon Henson. They're just great as like the bumbling sidekicks who are killed by Devon Sawa's character Anton. They're killed by Anton, but they come back as zombies, um, which is so great. And it's just really really fun horror comedy. I think the key to making a really good horror comedy is it's got to be really funny. And it's got to be really gory. That's how you balance the tone. It can't really be scary. Horror comedies should not be scary. They should be really funny because, and I've said this so many times, I really want to do a thesis on this. You know, primary on the color wheel or whatever, secondary colors or primary colors, whatever, it directly on the opposite end of the spectrum, comedy and horror. They are cousins, and they both play the slapstick in different ways. I think that some of the not all of them, but some of the nerve centers in the brain that react to horror are the same ones that react to slapstick comedy. And Idle Hands finds like the perfect blend. Truly, yeah. A Fox, she's like a nurse from a secret order that has to like stop the. This is like a whole, Anton is the long line of people whose hands are idle and go haywire and murder people. Offspring is the band that's playing the Halloween dance, and I'll tell you, um, it's amazing. They're covering "I Want to Be Sedated" by the Ramones. I want to be sedated. And Jessica Alba's dancing. She's doing like this weird sort of stripper, sexy stripper, whatever dance as like an angel to "I Want to Be Sedated." And you can tell the music that they had on set for playback was very different from Dexter Holland going "Bah, bah, bah, nah, bah, 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 nah." And his line is great. He gets scalped by the hand puts um, its fingers in a pencil sharpener to make points. I forgot about that. That was really fun. You got I love like how they typecast like alternative people, like heavy metal heads, punk rockers. Like the idea that like this guy was so satanic. Jack played by Jack Noseworthy. Randy, yeah, Jack Noseworthy played Randy. I think is that the guy. Yeah, that's him. He plays Randy. Who's like has like quiet riot shirt on, but is like satanic metal. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's so funny. It's so utterly mismatched in like the most wonderful 90 like out of touch 90s way. But like, for like a mainstream audience, it's like, yeah, it's his archetype. Really Kyle Gass in this movie. I didn't even notice him as the bird. He was the burger jungle. I didn't notice him. Andy Sterling's in it. It's great, man. It's really, 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 really great movie that holds up pretty well. Devin Sawa does a great job with the physical comedy. Not easy. I'm sure if you could probably find an interview with him, that he did some whatchamacallit. He watched Evil Dead 2. He had to. The same way that Jim Carrey watched Evil Dead 2 to prepare himself for Liar Liar. So, I haven't seen Idle Hands in a long time. Definitely watch it. They're smoking weed and Santeria comes on. That was hilarious. It just the movie kind of pushes out at the end. It doesn't really like pronounce much. I will say this: the best friend who played by maybe is it? No, it's not Ray. Maybe it's Kelly Monaco plays Tiffany. She's a devil character, and she gets like dispatched in the most gruesomely mean-spirited way. I mean, I was like, damn, she's just like a teenager in high school. She didn't deserve that. I guess nobody deserves whatever they get, but that blew me. I was like, damn, that is mean spirited. She gets sucked up into a ceiling fan, explodes everywhere. The whole bit where he's trying to eat the burrito and he wraps the thing around the duct tape around his neck. That was great. It's just great. But I remember the bit where he's watching the music video and the sandwich, spreading the mayonnaise, blood on the knife. I had totally forgotten about some of these details, and then just watch them through this prism was just tremendous. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed this revisit. That is Idle Hands. Oh, Drag Me to Hell, man, directed by Sam Raimi in 2009. This one went up, so I hadn't seen it in a long time. The last time I watched it, I had loved it. This was probably my favorite viewing of this movie ever. This was the viewing where I truly, I mean, I've watched this film a bunch of times. Um, the CGI used to always bum me out. It bummed me out a hell of a lot less this time. I've sort of accepted CGI for what it is. Sam Raimi leaned way too heavy on CGI and it just looks dated. It's so cartoonish. Going back to this idea of what we were just talking about with Idle Hands, the notion of slapstick comedy being directly in contrast with horror, and the fact that a guy like Sam Raimi has found the perfect blend. In fact, he takes it up to another level because he doesn't, like I just said, a really good horror comedy is really gory and really funny. Drag Me to Hell is gross at times, but it's not gory. In fact, it's PG-13. And, I used to really, when I would watch a horror movie and it was PG-13, it was because I knew that it was gonna be sanitized in some way, or it was gonna be censored and wouldn't be good. I wouldn't enjoy it, you know? That is so good, that seltzer. Sorry for all the slurping noises if you can hear them over the internet. Really need something to drink. Um, I mean, it's almost like being inside it's like being trapped in a box in this train and having to, like, creatively innovate in a really, heavy, hard way to, creatively to sort of transform whatever it is that you're doing to be effective, right? How do you do something that's really effective when you have PG-13? It just goes to show you that it's not all about gore and gimmicks. It's all about atmosphere and tone and story, and that's what Drag Me to Hell has all those things in spades. It really does feel talk about Secret Tales from the Crypt movies. This feels like Secret Tales from the Crypt movie upon revisit. Um, it just it gets so goofy and over the top. It goes from being really scary to really goofy. I used to call this sounds really goofy. I used to consider this Evil Dead Part 4, you know, and I wanna believe that maybe the forces of hell are the same forces that embody the Necronomicon and that Dragon Tales firmly planted in the Evil Dead universe. Absolutely. This is a story that happens, somewhere else far off from, Michigan, where Evil Dead takes place, even though it ended in Tennessee, right? I always envisioned Evil Dead was happening actually in Michigan somewhere because that's where they're from originally. The boys, Rob Tapert, Bruce Campbell, and Sam Raimi. I really need to reread the Evil Dead Companion. It's a really good book. Um, I just realized I didn't read the goddamn plot to either of the other movies. That was so stupid. I'll do that now. Drag Me to Hell is about Christine Brown, who has a good job, great boyfriend, and bright future, but in 3 days, she's going after denying a woman the extension she needs to keep her home. Loan officer Christine Brown, her once promising life, take a startling turn for the worse. Christine is convinced she's been cursed by a gypsy. That's not a right. That's not a nice thing to say. You don't say gypsy. Sorry, I didn't say that out loud. Aroma. You wouldn't say gypsy anymore. It's very out of date. It's like saying Eskimo. That's also not the Eskimos. Inuits do not like to be called Eskimos, and Roma do not like to be called gypsy. See, it's so ingrained in our culture that I can't help but say it. Instead, say Inuit and Roma. But her boyfriend is skeptical. Her only hope seems to lie in a psychic who claims he can help her lift the curse and keep her soul from being dragged straight to hell. That's what she tries to do. And, it's just amazing. I love it when she interacts with the dead body and it's like such a grudge from the soul. Her hair, rips out her hair despite being dead. Like she just gets this grip somehow. There really is some sort of like unspoken, subtle, whatever you want to call it, resentment, ongoing resentment. Um, and it's great, man. And it's great. Just we do get some deadite action through possession. The spirit possesses. They try to open seance to get rid of the whole scene with her trying to pawn all of her stuff to get money to save her soul. Like, here's the thing that I'm watching. So, a couple of observations. One, she actually kills a cat. She does not save the cat. She's not a good person. She does get her just desserts at the end. Two, she like she's not a good person. She ultimately has to she learns her lesson by literally being dragged to hell. But she has this opportunity to help this woman and doesn't. And as a result, now that she is doomed, she's trying to reverse it and she can't. And it's just interesting how her boss, who's just such a and her rival who's newer to the company, Justin, I think his name is. Justin, what the hell's that guy's name? Does he have a name? Mr. Jax is the whatchamacallit? Stu, maybe. Stu, his name. And Stu might get her job. She's in line for promotion. She in an effort getting cursed. And just goes from one thing to the next. We learned that her mother's an alcoholic, and that she's on a farm, and that she's trying to get rid of her accent, and that her boyfriend comes from, different sort of, self-proclaimed high society. The mother's super judgmental. Mother is a bitch. The boyfriend's mother. What would have been interesting? An interesting alternate ending to this movie. I read after the fact. I guess Stu was supposed to originally get sent to hell, and the boyfriend was supposed to maybe she gets away. I think it's far more interesting if she couldn't, she's trying to figure out how to give the button. If she gives the button to someone, then they basically get the curse passed on to them, and that's all good and fine, except that you basically have to doom someone to trade places with you, and that's not good. And who are you going to do that, right? That way. And yes, it can be done with the someone who has died. She tries to give the button to the old woman, but she there's a switch of envelopes, and she ends up always holding on to the button. The button gets passed back to her. It's actually with her boyfriend. What would have been interesting is if she knowingly gave him the button and he's the one that gets dragged to hell, and she has to live with what she's done. That would have been a really dark ending. I mean, the ending that they have is dark too. It's kind of like it's a promise, man. It's a promise. Like you're gonna get dragged to hell. Someone's gotta drag you to hell. And her getting dragged to hell is so terrifying. It's not the hands that come up to take her to hell. It is like watching the skin get pulled back on her face and reveal her like sunken eye socket going, somebody help me, and she just gets pulled under. It's gruesome, man. And again, it's PG-13. Totally works. Trying to think what else. Lots of little great gags. Really care about the main character and the story. You almost put yourself in her place, and you think that you feel eager to want to get rid of this curse because you don't want to get dragged down in 3 days. The torment that she goes through, it's great, man. It's really great. I can't say enough good things about it. I wish Sam Raimi would do more horror movies. He doesn't have to. He has cemented his legacy, as Bob Rose recently said. He has cemented his legacy in the pantheon, but still, I would love to see him return with an original horrific idea because he does it so good. And the graveyard scene is pure Evil Dead, just wonder. Just you're sitting there just going, God, do I miss that kinetic Evil Dead style? If you want to see, here's another recommendation for you. You really can't get enough of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead aesthetic. Watch his second film, Crime, which is not a horror film, but absolutely is made with the same tone and style as Evil Dead. It almost takes place in that Evil Dead world as well. And it is off the wall bananas, Crime Wave. I'm in awe of it. So check both those out. I'm actually going to turn back time for a second because don't be upset with me. I'm just gonna read. So for outside, let me just share this again. What is outside about? A family retreats to an isolated farm which belongs to their parents, who are now expired during the zombie outbreak, but years of painful secrets take a toll as they navigate their desperate world. You can imagine what those secrets might be. Okay, that's one right there, and then let me see. What else did we do? We did Idle Hands. We got the right. Really silly here. What is Idle Hands about? Anton is a cheerful but exceedingly 17-year-old stoner who lives to stay buzzed, watch TV, and moon over Molly, the beautiful girl who lives next door. However, it turns out the old cliche about idle hands being the devil's playground has a kernel of truth after all. And that is a great premise, a great idea to start a screenplay with, right? Like that does work. That's a good foundation. That works. It does work in that kind of way. Idle hands. Right, what is our next? Movie. Ah, yes. Here we go. Now, before we go any further, I would like to tell you briefly, excuse me, do you have a few minutes to talk about Riot Stickers? Riot Stickers is the sponsor of the Frumess channel. We have a special going on with them. You get 100 die stickers for $33. Can't beat that price. Just exquisite. Double that, you can get 200 stickers for $66. Triple that, you can get 300 stickers for $99. And obviously, these are all with free shipping, man. Sharpie Riot is great to work with, man. Die cut stickers or stickers made with the computer scalpel, which allows them to take any shape. So if you want a shape of an idle hand for a sticker, you can get that done. Let's listen to the theme song, and we'll get right back to talking 31 Days of Halloween. We're talking about milk and cereal. Okay, and let's go.
Posters and promo cards, there's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads, we can print on shirts, we can print on hats. print on pants, cheap prices and high quality, quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support, great customer service, and so much more. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
All right, and we are back with more 31 days of Halloween. Almost through. Milk and Cereal from 2024, directed by Curry Barker. It also stars Curry Barker, the main character as well. A surprise birthday prank takes a turn for the worst when a popular social media duo must face the reality of the terrifying aftermath. So this is a made-for-YouTube found footage film. The channel has a large following, and they are blowing up. The budget was $800. They've made a ton of money through YouTube. They got over 1 million plays. So they've made their budget back and then some, which is really something I'm very interested in because it's like the level of I am at, and obviously I'm very YouTube centric. I just love the idea of having a monetized channel and just putting out movies and just letting people watch. I mean, there's YouTube is in over 150 million homes. The best, freest, easiest way to distribute your film, and people are starting to come around to it. It's starting to finally gain. I love that. Love the success story of this film. It just goes to show you that you don't have to have name stars. You don't even have to have gimmicks. You just have to have a really interesting story for will show up in. And that's what happened with Milk and Cereal. And it's about a guy named Milk. That's his nickname, Milk, and he be a they do pranks, and I'm kind of annoyed because I was watching a TikTok video and I had a very similar sort of idea for found footage. I'm always trying to come found footage concepts, and I have to say that there's a lot of overlap between what I thought up, Milk and Cereal. I was talking to my friend Nathan, and I was telling him, "Hey, I got this sort of cool concept for found footage. I think I finally figured out how I wanted footage." And he's like, "Well, tell me, have you seen Milk and Cereal?" I said, "No, not yet." And he goes, "You might want to watch Milk and Cereal first." Man, I hate it when that happens. I really do. This was interesting. I gave it 3 stars and gave it a heart because I really respect and appreciate what he was doing. I think that it sort of sticks the landing. It kind of gets a little too convoluted. A lot of around with time narrative, and there's a lot of sort of trickery because it's a YouTube prank channel that he's a serial killer. I will say, when he abducts this girl, it's really scary, and it's he spoilers he murders her. It's really it's gruesome. It's very gruesome. Some of the choreography doesn't work for me. Some of the fight choreography didn't feel real. It felt a little staged. They didn't push the envelope far enough in terms of like selling it on screen. I did not hold it against them. It's totally fine. It totally works. It was only 50 minutes long. You can watch it right now on YouTube. I suggest you do for sure, especially if you're interested in making but films as I am. Sometimes you watch things, even if something is like half baked, or even if I'm not saying this is half baked, sometimes things, even if something isn't, is rough around the edges, it is so exhilarating to watch, the craft and get inspired by ideas and, figure out how can I do my own version of this. And that's kind of where my headspace is while watching Milk. Like I said, the narrative was a little hard to follow because it jumps around a lot. We find out that one guy, the serial killer guy, had hired an actor, and then they kill the actor, and just I don't know, it just gets a little too convoluted for the found concept that it's trying to convey. That's what it is. It's a little too wrapped up, too pat. But I friggin' I dig it, man. I dig it. I recommend everybody check it out. Milk and Cereal, baby. Milk and Cereal. YouTube Films, wave of the future. I have a documentary coming out, feature-length documentaries coming out on YouTube in on November 5th. I have a feature on YouTube as well that has 23,000 views. I mean, it's like it hasn't made as much money as 20,000 views should maybe. Could have made more, I should say, but it's still listen. And my only revenue partner is Google. Like you can't beat that. Um, all right. Up next, Smile 2. Smile 2. What I had to say about Smile right off the bat, Naomi Scott plays the Sky, what's her name? Sky Rider or something. She deserved an Oscar for her performance in this film. It was an onslaught that only Bruce could have pulled off. Far superior sequel to the original Smile, and I enjoyed the original Smile. I gave it 4 stars and a heart. Actress Naomi Scott. First of all, she is look at her. She is beautiful, like breathtakingly beautiful. I really cared about her and what happened to her. There's just so much moving on. So it's written and directed by the same guy as the first movie, Finn. Sky Riley is her name. Sorry, not Sky Riley. Uh, it's the last thing you see. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Sky Riley begins experiencing increasingly terrifying, inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and the pressures of fame, Sky is forced to face her past to regain control before it spirals out of control. And I will say this: I'm going to have to spoil the shit out of this. Obviously, these Smile movies are not about how do we escape the Smile demon. This is about how you die. This is about how the end of you and your struggle. And the Smile demon, it sort of just it wears you down. You know what I mean? It breaks you down by little bit until all your defenses are done, and that's when it crawls inside of you, literally crawls inside, takes you over, does you in, and passes it on. And the way that they set that up at the end, it happens right on stage in front of the whole crowd. So it's you and the whole crowd is exposed to the Smile demon. I don't know how that's going to work. Is the Smile demon going to take them one by one, or is it going to be like everybody all at once, like a mass pandemic of a hysteria? It's just again, Smile 2 is one of those sequels that's so good and so powerful that it renders the original behind it becomes kind of like a prequel almost. The same way that Friday the 13th becomes a prequel to Friday the 13th Part 2 because that's really the birth of Jason Voorhees. And man, this thing is terrifying. This demon. They do some far more unsettling things. Again, it's so many metaphors for depression, illness, obviously self-delusion as it's known here on YouTube. You know what I'm really trying to say. Um, the best horror is social commentary. That's what it's doing. It's talking about real things and using metaphors and concepts to do it. And Smile 2 just takes everything that happens to Smile and just cranks it up a notch. I think that nothing could ever prepare for the shock of that Smile demon at the end of the first movie. It's more horrifying than anything you could ever imagine. But seeing it again in the sequel, I mean, I guess what's so unnerving is that crowd. I mean, that is it really is terrifying. Movie movie's culmination, and it takes you. It kind of does red herring stuff to fake you out. I enjoy. I basically hallucinates a guy existence. This guy Morris, who turns out to be the Smile, the paralysis demon, whatever the Smile demon, is the one that's pulling the strings the whole time, allowing her to feel like she has some agency, like she has some control. In reality, she's never in control, not once. Um, it's really good, man. It's really good. I highly recommend Smile 2. I kind of want to see him do a third movie. I don't know how it would be about because like you follow up something like this with like you just can't. It's just impossible. Uh, but you could try. You could try. That Smile. Everybody go watch Smile too. Oh, is this thing friggin' gory too, man? Gory. Like, I mean, just really gruesome stuff happens in this movie. She's just seeing Demon clone her again. You know what I really love? I think one of the most effective shots is at the end. You can tell that she's putting herself in on stage. We hear it, but we don't see it. Instead, we cut to the crowd like shrieking in horror, and then it cuts back to her. We see that she shoved a microphone through her eye socket, which is fine, but like I almost don't need it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't need to see that. It was it just didn't I don't know. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. It was purely effective just to have to end on the crowd freaking out, whatever it is that they're seeing, and we see they're seeing. And it's just freaky deaky, man. Live freaky, die freaky. Light another incense. Cleanse the bad vibes from talking about very, very disturbing end. Ooh, a pretty good year for horror. I mean, maybe I say that every year. Maybe we say that. Pretty good year for horror. 2020 has been pretty good. I think, like I said, I would welcome a third Smile. I don't know what in hell it would be about, but man, if he could pull it off, I'll go. I'll be there. All right, let's move on, shall we? One last thing I want to say too. I was not planning on seeing Smile 2 initially. I was skipping. I saw the trailer and I was like, it looks good, whatever. It was the word of mouth. It was the word of mouth that was so insistent that it was so good that I should see it and watch it. And I was like, all right. You're winning me over here. I'm gonna check it out. And I'm really glad I listened. Okay, now we can move on to the next movie. All right, our next movie, Trap Baby by M. Night Shyamalan. One thing I said. Well, let's read what Trap is about. Trap, not Trap. 30,000 fans, 300 cops, one serial killer, no escape. A father and a teen daughter attend a pop concert when they realize they're the center of a dark and sinister event. Uh, Josh Hartnett, man, who looks so much like my friend and neighbor Tristan. It's friggin' hilarious. I love how much he looks like him. I have to say right off the bat, listen, I want to say this. I love M. Night. I love him. I love him for sticking to his guns and being the goofiest motherfucker on the planet. Always comes up with really interesting concepts and just like ends up going to these really weird, goofy places. And just everything goofy. And the dialogue here is just, I mean, it's so cookie cutter, cardboard atrocious. I can't even stand it. The dialogue is Tommy Sola. And I really do. I love Tommy Wiseau. I love M. Night for just being who he is, doing what he does, no matter how good he can be. God bless, truly. But man, I mean, I just can't get over the way that they talk. Literally feel like I'm watching The Room. So basically, here's the concept. Spoilers. Josh Hartnett, he's a serial killer. He's taking his daughter to a pop concert. The pop the star, Lady Raven, and her entourage are working with the FBI to catch Josh Hartnett's serial killer character, who is called the Butcher, and it's just super goofy, super generic. There's a lot of cat. Once again, a great example, much like Sam Raimi. I'm gonna say it again, much like Sam Raimi and Drag Me to Hell. M. Night really knows how to make a PG-13 horror movie. He knows how to keep it interesting. He knows how to create tension, and that's the stuff that really, hooks you in. It's along with the premise. It's not necessarily the performance. It's definitely not the dialogue. The dialogue is so good. It's like I can't get over the way some of the things that are said in this movie. It sounds like said it. I don't know how else to say it except that that's what it's like. And it's friggin' funny, man. It's funny. Um, Josh Harnett, the butcher, he's very crafty and clever, and he always figures out a way out of whatever situation he's in. He realizes that he's surrounded by police, figures out that they're trying to catch the killer, and that obviously it's him. Someone help in the basement. He's got a detonator on his cell phone that'll trigger CO2. And the movie just gets really ridiculous. Really ridiculous. Lady Raven ends up at his house, and the movie ends with him eating pie that's been poisoned, which paralyzes him. He wants to fix the bike because he's. It's just, you got to hand it to M. Night, man. He's so passionate about filmmaking and stuff. Like, he puts all of his heart and soul into it. And I like, man, he just making movies. I love that he had a. I love that he put up his own money and not only make bank, but he basically has the power to make whatever he wants. And he's just living his best life. So as much as I bag on him for his movies, some of his movies, and like how goofy he is, I really do have great admiration and appreciation for what he does. Even if it doesn't always work for me. I was thoroughly entertained by Trapped. Trapped. I want to say Trapped, like that band. Um, I was thoroughly entertained by Trapped. I would have seen it in the theater. I missed it, and it was out last December, so I was really glad to see it. And yeah, just one of the better M. Night Shyamalan movies out there. He's always doing weird stuff. He like remember The Visit with the weird grandma that wasn't really the grandma. He was out there, man. I saw The Watcher. I guess his daughter made that, and it really feels like an M. Night movie. He was kind of helicopter parenting her, directing her movie. It's also very good. Uh, that's it, man. Trap. Oh, I'll say I love seeing Josh Harnett in movies. I'm stoked that he's like out there doing stuff. Like he seems like he's had a little bit of a resurgence. Obviously, he was around in the '90s. He was in the Fat. He was in 40, 40 Days with that chick. What was her beautiful girl from Rules of Attraction, Shoshana something. This is Josh Harnett. Oh, he's in Halloween H2O. So he is, man. He is no stranger to genre film. And so he has definitely has pedigree. He played Jamie Curtis. He played Laurie Strode's kid in Halloween H2O. So there you go. Um, how do you do? I'm see you've met my faithful handyman. A different set of jaws. Sweethearts, Brad and Janet, stuck with a flat tire during a storm. Discover the eerie mansion of Dr. Cooper, a transvestite scientist. As their innocence is lost, Brad and Janet meet a house full of wild characters, including a rocking biker and a creepy butler. Through elaborate dances and rock songs, Frankenfooter unveils his latest creation, a muscular man named Rocky. I just want to say, Rocky Horror might be the best like stage name, punk rock name ever, like all time. I kind of wish my name was Rocky because I would call myself Rocky Horror at the drop of. I love Rock. I love that this movie is called the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I love that the play is the Rocky Horror Show. I've talked a bunch about Rocky Horror on the channel. I first saw Rocky Horror when I was 9 or 10 years old. It pickled me. It pickled me in a way that I've never been the same since. I love this movie so much. It's it's so deeply entrenched in my DNA. It's been some years since I had watched it. It was great to rewatch it. I always have. I love the songs. I love seeing new details in the movie. I've seen this movie hundreds of times. The movie is based on a lot of things. It's obviously blending a lot of things together. Flash Gordon, Frankenstein, there's a lot of stuff, but Actually Old Dark House by James Whale from 1933, I think. And I went to go see Old Dark House at the Alamo. And I'm watching, I'm going, this is, this is Rocky Horror. That's where we got Rocky Horror from. And as it turns out, it was. And I mean, listen, greatness gets greatness, right? It couldn't be truer for Rocky Horror. Obviously, it's different enough than Dark House. It uses the same framework, same setup. It works so well, man. It works. The song is so memorable. If you have a chance, go find Richard O'Brien's like acoustic demos that he had to show the musical director. They all sound like Lou Reed songs. All these songs they start off kind of like Reed, drug songs about like heroin and you know. Um, the performances are just they're magnetic, man. Especially obviously Tim Curry is Dr. Frankenfooter is one of the best antagonists portrayals in cinematic history. Like they're nothing easily in the top 10. And really, there's really nothing to say about this movie. There's so much to say. Obviously, all this the social commentary, the queer LGBTQ, liberation, counterculture of it. It was punk rock before punk rock. I did a whole video essay about Eddie and why Eddie is in deep and why he's singing the song. What is Hot Patootie? And go check it out. It's on this channel. Um, the ending is always so. I always wonder, like, why is he doing the floor show? And maybe it's just like the whole point is that they're on Earth for whatever reason. He decides that he's make a man with blood. Maybe they're trying on Earth, you know, trying to Earthlings to understand the human condition, right? And in the process, they corrupt Brad and Janet, who are obviously some sort of Adam and Eve. Originally the movie was supposed to be in black and white until we get to the time warp and then go full color. Cult movie, the ultimate midnight movie. It's the ultimate queer movie. The cult following was invented by the Rocky Horror Show. It happened so organically in the most wonderful way. A group of participants getting together and basically creating like live stand-up comedy improv every night in the theater. Long before we had Mystery Science Theater, long before any of that stuff existed, riff tracks, all that stuff, there was Rocky Horror, man. That that was so bad. So it's not that it's bad, it's so cheesy. There's nothing that's bad about Rocky Horror, but it was considered to be a stinker. It was a schlocky, spoof, send up, whatever you want to call it. And it just I can't say it enough. It's just such an integral, important movie. For anybody out there who's felt like different or weird, finding Rocky Horror. It's weird now because Rocky Horror is so mainstream. It's like it's like a mainstream thing. It's become a household sort of entity. It wasn't always that way, And that's why a guy, president of the fan, Al Puro, who's in Shock Tree at the beginning, a little cameo. And I think they made a documentary about it. But like that guy who's just like, I guess he's famous for being such a fan, like so much more. Like the idea that he's like this, he's really the sort of ground zero for why this movie is what it is to everybody else. It's like, Jim Sharman who directed it, Richard O'Brien wrote it, Tim Curry who starred in it, like, and everybody else, Brian Thompson who signed it, and Sue, whatever her face is, who did the costume design. Success has many mothers and fathers, but it wasn't. It was none of what they did. Richard Hartley did it was none of what he did that gave Rocky its legs. It was actually Sal and his band of misfits, and that's why they're also so integral, important to the story of Rocky Horror, even though they had nothing to do with making a movie and were just so love it, Rocky Horror. In just 7 days, the sword of damn it hanging over my head. I got the feeling someone's gonna be cutting the thread. Said, woe is me, life is a mystery. Oh, can't you see that I'm at the start of a pretty big down? In the original, Rocky Horror, you're doing just fine. You are from another time. Da 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 da. Because baby, that's no crime. That's no crime. So I could like sing the whole music. Let's move on to final movie. Final movie. Okay. Final movie. Netflix movie. Don't move. You can hide, but you can't run. A grieving woman in a forest encounters a killer who injects her paralytic. As her body shuts down, her fight for survival begins. First, I just want to say again, I have to say, Elsie uh, Asbill, who plays Iris, is can't get over. Again, I am overwhelmed by her beauty. She is so beautiful. And there's something about her hair. Like she's dreamy, dreamy. I just can't get over her. I was mesmerized by her. I mean, she's a great actress, and her beauty. There's something about that. There's something about Iris that works really well for this movie. She goes to end it all. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. She goes to end it all at the beginning, and she fit in with Trock. You recognize this guy. He's in a bunch of American Horror Story seasons. He's great. He's a great actor. He's a serial killer, and suddenly she decides she wants to live, and he checks her with the drug. And the movie could have been 80 minutes. It's a lot longer than 80 minutes, but it could have been 80 minutes. Um, there's a few moments. What is interesting though is when she's trying to like get to him or like peel back his layers. He tells her about how he was in a lot of pain and he was in bed, and how he basically discovered that he himself was God, and like figures into his psychosis. What's interesting is by the end of the movie, she says at some point, she's like, there is no God. I don't believe in God because of what happens to a child. The child's killed, tragically killed, which is why she wants to end it all. And by the end of the movie, the message of the movie is actually very dark. He's dying on the beach. She looks at him, she says, thank you, he walks away. And it's like, why is she saying thank you? And I think she's saying thank you because she ultimately sees that he was right. That like she now thinks of herself as God, and maybe she's gonna start being a serial killer. Um, it was a very interesting. Maybe there's more to unpack there. But that's all I can think of off the top at this moment. That was really something else. That kind of idea that that's how it works. Um, she ultimately realizes that there's nobody. God isn't going to save her. No one's going to save her. Is herself. She has to figure out how to save herself in order to, you know, survive because she decides that she wants to live. And something breaks inside of her. Something expresses itself inside. She realizes that what he said to her in the car about being God, that he was right. That he was God for himself. She's also God. She finds God in herself. I don't know. Maybe that's a little happy. That's what I thought. Um, that's it, man. I think that's movie 30. So that's the end. We're at the I want to thank you for joining me one day. It's Halloween. I hope that next year it's more industrious. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like this was just it was okay. Uh, we'll do a better job next year. How about that? Um, signing off. Peace, air grease. See you next time. Goodbye.